This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Hey Darklings, Kaylin here. We know our generation has a surplus of pretty darkness in common, and if there's one thing unpacking our upbringing has taught us, it's just how essential therapy is for shining a flashlight on the darkness in our own lives. I don't know where I'd be without mine. I believe every human can benefit from the perspective of a licensed therapist. Whether you're familiar with your own inner workings or you're just looking for a listening ear, you can give BetterHelp online therapy a try by going to betterhelp.com/prettydark and receive 10% off your first month. I get that online therapy can be tricky, but I've been seeing my therapist online since 2020, and I'm here to tell you that it's absolutely worth it. Getting started is always the hardest part, and BetterHelp makes that easy. You can begin right from your phone or computer in whatever way makes you most comfortable, via good old-fashioned phone calls, video chats, or even messaging, if that's more your style. We enjoy this frightful nostalgia and learning about how it all connects, but Darklings know we're also passionate about healing and growing from what we learn. If you dare to do the same, head to betterhelp.com/prettydark. There you can answer a few questions, and BetterHelp will match you to a professional who has years of experience helping people like us. Plus, you can switch therapists at any time, so you're sure to find the right connection. Millennials are ditching the stigma and owning our mental health. And with BetterHelp, you can build a relationship with a professional all from the comfort of your own home, just how we like it. Visit betterhelp.com/prettydark or choose That's Pretty Dark podcast during sign up and enjoy 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/prettydark.
You're listening to That's Pretty Dark,
The podcast where we talk about all of the entertainment that scared us as children
and still haunts us as adults. So grab your flashlight and join us as we take a frightfully nostalgic look over our shoulders
and under our beds
and in our closets.
And together we'll realize, whoa, that's pretty dark.
Pretty dark.
Should old acquaintance be forgot?
If you are lucky enough to be a patron of That's Pretty Dark podcast, you are currently viewing a disembodied skeleton head singing Auld Lang Syne into Christian's microphone. Whether or not it's at all audible is still
totally
to be determined.
For sure.
Hello, dearest lovely Darklings. Welcome to 2025.
I was told that the first item on our agenda is bullshit. And
that's true.
That's what I'm doing.
It's a fact. It's right here on my paper. It's right in front of me.
I came to not impress. I don't know what the word is. I came to please.
We never come to impress. Please don't get it twisted.
Yeah. Do not get that mixed up.
That's never on the agenda.
With who we really are in reality.
Yeah.
And that is Christian Mott and Kaylin Andrews. We are
That's us.
Your ghost hosts of this, your Pretty Dark podcast.
You guys are hearing the first words that have ever been recorded on my brand new microphone.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even know.
Yeah, I got it for Christmas.
We pulled up Zoom and Kaylin's like, "You're not going to say anything? Look at this new mic." And I was like, "Whoa, there! I didn't even notice."
I wanted to surprise Christian. I was like, I want him to see the logo just right across the screen.
Yeah, I sure did.
Striving to be more professional with this podcast thing.
You can also tell like how aware I am of your technical situation, because I was like, "Whoa, the windscreen is green," and you said, "Well, my other one was green too." It's like I didn't.
So the moral of that story is that Christian never looks at me, but it's fine. That's fine. It's
I look at you every other week when we record, like for at least 4 hours.
But not at my microphone.
Just not at your microphone. There's more important things on the docket, like bullshit.
Bullshit.
Now we've come full circle. Happy New Year. What the hell?
It feels very
Hallelujah.
strange to me.
Holy shit.
We started
Where's
this whole
the Tylenol?
thing in the year of our Lord, 2021, and it's now 2025.
Is that true? 2021? That's when we began. Are you serious?
We began in October of 2021, and I keep on. Real. I say it every year, but 2025 truly just looks like sci-fi. That's the distant future. That's not the right now.
I just said that the other day. I was like, when I was a kid, I was like, 2020s. That's never going to happen.
Never.
It's never going to come.
And
I'll
suddenly
be
we're a
old
quarter
by
of a
then.
century into the new millennium, you know?
Unreal. Just nonsense. I want
Nonsense.
to cry about it, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna be
I
strong.
often do.
I'm gonna be strong.
Oh my God.
Save
Patrons
the
will
tears
also
for my
be
cats.
enjoying my cat Buzz as he interrupts and intersects our conversation. So
Yeah, and it's fun
be aware
because
of that.
this is the first time I've ever sat back in my office chair.
I noticed that.
I'm
I
like
noticed you're in a
reclined.
reclined position.
I'm
a very
relaxed,
laid back
man.
sort of vibe that you're giving off.
The campfire's crackling. We're chatting around the campfire. Got some whiskey. There's no other way to do this, you know? Normally I'm all hunched over and my back aches by the time
Me
we're done
too,
recording.
actually.
It's a horrible.
Yeah, it's very odd because I'm getting used to a new microphone, but
Horrible
I don't have
posture.
notes in front of me other than this agenda, which quite literally has bullshit as the first item and very few items beyond.
We've got writer fingers, writer wrists, and we have podcast posture. Writer wrist and podcast
posture. I
That's how it
definitely
goes.
have some podcast posture going on. I'm actually leaning back too today a little bit though, so we'll see how this goes. Like I was saying, this is this new microphone, but I don't have notes to look at, but I don't know where I need to be in space. So if you're hearing me like getting further away from the microphone, coming back to the microphone, that's why. And
It's casual.
If dear listener, this is the first time you've ever put That's Pretty Dark into your ears,
I'm sorry. We apologize.
we apologize. And this is just a little tradition that we do every year thus far. We've had we call them a campfire chat. And we just get together. We talk about the previous year. We talk about the upcoming year. We talk about our personal lives and just everything that we have going on. So that you guys can know us a little bit better. And so we can know you a little bit better.
All the things you don't want to know about us.
Right, exactly. We're just going to tell you whether you like it or not.
We're mostly going to get into how many Band-Aids each of us used this year.
Ooh,
how many times?
That's a good stat.
How many times each of us vomited this year?
Less than in previous years for me.
Actually, I think I'm sitting pretty at zero for this year.
I mean,
which is a new
2025.
record. Well,
I'm knocking on all kinds of wood in front of me right now.
my
It's
my
like
whole
particle
room's made
board.
of
It's
wood,
not
just-
even. It's not even wood. But
This is engineered wood in the desk. So, wow. So what do we do? What do we jump into? Do we want to
Well,
talk
I
about
think-
like?
let's talk about us a little bit. Let's talk
Okay.
about our vibes. Let's talk about how we're feeling, and then let's move into. We've got some listener questions, which
Let's
you guys
do
are
it.
always so gracious to provide over on our Instagram. But that's going to guide us into some, podcast
Yeah.
conversation, planning. Like, I'll say resolutions, but I don't really mean resolutions. And we'll go from there.
We'll go
if
from
that
there.
sounds good
Well,
to you.
I can kick us off. My vibe right now is Arctic Monkeys. That's what I got going on. I got
Which
that.
song?
Well, I have AM, the whole album.
Oh, the
playing,
album,
so
AM, yeah.
I just started it over since we hit record, so I'm back to Are You Mine?
That's my
2025.
favorite Arctic Monkeys album.
Do I want to know
For sure.
2025? Are You Mine?
Do I want to know?
One for the road.
Stealing flows both ways. It's
Yeah.
a great song.
So,
actually.
I'm grooving. I'm moving. I'm feeling groovy and movie. It's going to be, it's going to be a delightful campfire chat. Let's do this.
Yeah, we could talk about the music we've been listening to. That's kind of fun.
I just do podcasts.
I do podcasts too, but I did something that I don't normally do last year. Like my music like ritual, I have a playlist every year, and I'm like, whatever the year is, discoveries and obsessions. So it's either songs that I discovered that year or songs that I love and I've gone back to, or just found myself listening to a lot, and I just add songs to that playlist all year long. So I have like a long year running playlist. But this past year I started doing seasonal playlists, not in the style of Christian Mott necessarily, but like
not to the extent.
not
of
that the music fits the season
insanity.
necessarily,
Yeah.
but that like songs that I find myself listening to. So I had like a summer playlist and an autumn playlist, and I started a winter playlist and didn't exactly finish it.
Word.
But I found myself doing that because I have been going back to a lot of the same artists, and now I'm associating, like for example, last spring I listened to the Collapse List album by Novo Amor.
Yeah.
I had that album on repeat for I think 2 solid months. Like if I just wasn't listening to anything specific, I was just going to put music on, that was the album I was playing.
Yeah, one of my favorite
So
artists.
good. Absolutely one of the best albums to come out of 2024.
Like what,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
16?
Long time. We've been listening to them.
2015.
Yeah.
14.
A decade together.
Like 2014, I think I've been listening to him since then.
Yeah. Phenomenal.
Great.
Album.
Great artist. Yeah, he's doing good stuff.
Let's see. What else
Love
you got
that
going
guy.
on? I do love to
Neville.
talk about music. I could talk about that all day.
I used to be way more into music than I am now. I just have so much chaotic nonsense going on in my head all the time. It has to match what I'm doing, the music, so that I can just do what I'm doing better.
Yeah. No, I get that.
So most of my vibe has been just like finding what fits, like the podcast research or like the episode that we're going to be covering, using the Spotify algorithms to create playlists on the fly for me. Like the one time I didn't even know that was a thing until
Do you
I
use your
typed
Spotify DJ?
I don't know what that is, but I did just type into the search like a couple years ago, like spooky 80s, and it made me a playlist.
Yeah,
just
it will make you a
immediately.
playlist based on like your listening and the vibe that you're searching for.
It was
like
great.
That's a hack, honestly. Darklings,
been a
if you
great
don't
time.
know about that, it is phenomenal.
It's fantastic.
There's also the Spotify DJ who acts like a radio DJ and will play like segments of music, and you can like he talks to you, like he comes on, he's like, hey, I'm DJ X, whatever.
Oh, I would hate that.
But it's not like annoying. Like it's not like too invasive, I guess. He's just like, I'm gonna start you off with these vibes, and it'll be like 4 songs of this kind of vibe, and then they'll move to something else based on your listening. I think it's interesting.
It would
I like
take me
I don't mind
right
it.
out of the focus that I'm in, the hyper focus, whatever it gets me to, whatever place, the whole point of the music, I'd be taken right out of it. Somebody starts talking to me.
For me, I
Ruined.
feel like it's been the
Ruined.
like the autumn and winter of the ladies, because I've been listening up to obviously All Summer, Chaperone, Sabrina Carpenter, but also I've found these
Yeah,
like
all the hot
indie,
button, all the popular ones.
but I found all these indie artists like let's see, Yana and Sydney Ross Mitchell. Both of them have like EPs that are very similar to each other, and I would say that those two ladies have been getting me through the Boy Genius / Phoebe Bridgers hiatus. Just
Yeah.
recently, somebody
Yeah.
uploaded a bunch of like demos and like old archived Phoebe Bridgers tracks, live tracks. Buster the Band, for anybody that is a Phoebe Bridgers aficionado. Somebody uploaded like a 20-song album with all this stuff, and I was like, this is gonna get taken down, but I listened to it obsessively for about 3 days, and then sure enough, today I went on there and it's long gone. But it was nice while it
Sayonara.
lasted.
Long gone, like your old microphone that fell off your desk, committed suicide earlier.
Whenever
Plunged.
we logged
the
into our
plunge.
Zoom tonight, I was showing Christian my new mic, and then I was describing, because we were talking about the fact that they were both green, and then I said, but my old mic had a stabilizer. It's this like cage that goes around it with like bungees so that it doesn't get jostled as easily if you like bump the mic arm or your desk or whatever. And I picked it up from behind me to show it to Christian, and then I set it back down on the desk, and we kept talking, and then probably like 30 seconds later, it just took a dive. It just fell off the back of my desk.
It was pretty funny.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah,
I
cool.
relate, little dude. I relate. We thanked him for his service. We sent
That
him
kinda
on
year.
his way.
It's been a hell of a ride.
He's in a
little
better
guy.
place now.
Mm-hmm. Thank
So.
you for your contribution to our journey, our pretty dark journey. Yeah, well, okay, we could probably talk about music for
We could.
hours, I feel like.
Hours and hours.
Why don't let's just shift gears and tell
Let
the
us know, guys,
Darklings-
though, if you're into that, because that's something I feel like we could bring to the Patreon. Some energy.
Oh,
we could
yeah,
bring to the
we could
Patreon
probably
if you're
do that.
into
I
it.
could dig deep and get back into everything I've ever loved in the past and try to like
That'd be fun.
try to like remember anything at all. I think that would be a good time.
Hmm.
Bring back my long-term memory. But yeah, why don't we just like shift gears and tell the Darklings something that they don't know?
Please, Christian, tell the Darklings something that they don't know.
I want to be a dad.
Christian has been keeping a little secret from you all.
Yep, I'm a good like 5 months along now, and this guy's ready to he's ready to come on out.
Yeah, how does your pregnancy feel, Christian?
Oh, it's just a pizza baby. Oh, god damn it. Yeah, no, for real. I'm gonna have a little boy, and
There's gonna be another Christian.
there's gonna be
out on
another
these
little
streets.
asshole walking around being like,
Ooh, skeletons are cool, and like, oh my god.
What if
Jack
he's not
skeleton.
like that, though?
that's fine. He can be whatever he wants to be. I just want him to be okay. That's
Sure.
it. That's all I want.
Spoken like a good
That's
dad.
all I want. Yeah. A lot of stuff is happening. Big whirlwind year. Chaotic. In a relationship, not in a relationship, back in a relationship, being a dad. I'm selling my house. I'm buying a new house. So that's the first thing I'm doing this year. New Year's resolutions. Successfully sell my home and
Well, it didn't take long.
successfully buy the new one. Yes, we listed my house and we had a hell of an offer by dark. And
Same day.
yeah, so in one day, in like 24 hours, we were under contract. So I
It's a good
think
house.
that's a pretty good.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny too because I actually know the buyer.
Nice.
I didn't know that was them who was seeing the house, but turns out we've known each other for many years now. So it was kind of funny. It was pretty funny. But yeah, really proud of that. Really proud of a lot of things that are happening. So the only thing that means for the show is that I'm going to be moving in like a month, and
Yeah.
I'm going to have to quickly get set up and ready to be recording
In a whole new
all
space.
future episodes in a brand new space. So audio quality is probably going to be a little different because I'm going from a completely wood paneled room to not a wood paneled room. But I'm going to have to do a lot of audio treatment and get it ready. But I'm excited because I think I'm going to paint the whole room black and just live in the
Color
vibe.
drenching. That's something us
'Cause
millennials like to do.
Well, I have so much stuff to put on the walls. I have so many things to decorate that room with. So I don't think the black is going to be overbearing whatsoever. But I'm very excited to figure that out and live in a much bigger house. And I'm going to have almost 2 acres and this freaking pond in the
Oh,
backyard. And
I
there's
did see the pond. The pond
there's a-
looks pretty dope.
behind that, there's a creek that runs behind the house that I have on good authority you can swim in.
Hey.
So we're going to be
Creek
enjoying
swimming.
summers
the
by
crick.
the creek, having some picnics. Yeah, the crick. That's what I'm going to be saying on the show a lot. Crick.
That was me as a child. That's what I did. I liked to be in the crick.
That's also what I'm going to be yelling when I'm overwhelmed with 2 small children and not living alone anymore for the first time in 10 years. I'm going to be like, I'll be at the crick.
That's
Damn
where
it.
you'll go. But that's,
No, it'll be
going to a
quiet.
body of water is a very familiar thing
Yeah, I'm
for
going to
both
take
of us.
It is true. That's true. It'll be a quiet, more like, I'll be at the crick. It'll be scary.
Ominous.
If you need me, I'll be out by the water. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Feel that.
Can't wait. I'm so
You've got
excited.
a lot happening, obviously.
So much happening.
And yeah, the Darklings have been unawares up until now.
So send me your good vibes,
Oh God, Buzz.
your good feels. Send me your love.
Buzz is trying really hard to do just that right now.
If you, I don't know how I feel about asking for advice, because people love to give advice about
Yeah.
having kids. But if you think that you understand me as a person,
Sure, Darklings may be a special breed in that regard.
and if you feel like you have any good advice based on what you know about me as a person, that might be acceptable. I'd also
We've
love
got
it.
some pretty great
I'd also
listeners
love to just
who are
chat.
fathers.
Yeah.
So
Just reach out. You also can find my personal Instagram if you want to. Everybody follows Kayla. No one follows me because I don't
see, the
post
thing
anything.
is, that's not really true because
true.
I am on
It's true.
private and I get scared. I'm going to be really, really candid
I'm
and really
public.
honest
Come
with,
follow me.
with the Darklings that are listening. I
Send me
have
your
probably
DMs.
300
Let's
to
be friends.
400 like follow requests on my Instagram
Yeah.
because I get really scared. I get really overwhelmed and really scared because I am very like, I don't post a ton, but it's my life. So I get paranoid,
Well, you have 400 that you have not approved. I have maybe gotten 4 follows from people that I think are listeners. So
I'm
I
not
know
saying
I
that
don't
all
post
400
anything.
are Darklings or anything, but some
Yeah,
of them
that's
are
true.
most
That's
likely
true.
just crazy
Well,
spam bots. But
That's that's one of the woes of being an attractive female. Is like you're
You
gonna
guys hear
get
that?
you're gonna get a million things you don't want on the internet. Like you're gonna get so much
Spam.
attention that's not
spam.
ideal.
Attention is fine, but like attention that's not real just spooks me.
Sure, no, and that's more the future we're moving into.
Oh, I know.
We're never gonna know what's real.
I get so freaked
Ever.
out sometimes. I have a friend who's like, he enjoys going into the deep, dark corners of the internet, bringing me like random YouTube videos and things.
Yeah.
And he found a YouTube video where there were bots talking to each other in the comment section.
Oh, I hate that so much.
Like they were talking back. And I was like, this digital wasteland that we've created, there are truly just eons of
kill.
Yeah. Yes. Just
Furby,
conversation
murder
and
family.
literally mindlessness that is all about the internet's.
Yeah.
Haunting,
Did you see?
Really.
A mutual friend of ours, Doug, just posted something that said he just witnessed the first time. Well, it's the first time he'd witnessed an AI chatbot referring to humans as we.
No, I didn't see that. Yeah. I should go look.
That one spooked me. I think it was Doug. It could have been somebody else, but
no,
that
makes
one
sense.
that one got me.
That would track. For Doug.
Freaky, very freaky. I don't like it. Robots should not pretend to be human.
We just need to, as long as there's a definitive, we know what's what. And that's kind of the thing. Like I get a little concerned about it, even on the That's Pretty Dark Instagram, because obviously that one is public. But like, we get a lot of spam on there too. Yeah. Comments and things, and I try to monitor it. I try to remove followers that don't look legitimate, like as it's happening. But I'm like, I really, this is just a good opportunity to shout out our darklings who are there, who are in it, who comment, who follow the follow the episodes, who are listening, who are giving us comments that are legit and thoughtful. Emails, everything that you guys do, that helps so much, because just being the way that we are as people, obviously we're good friends, we're close to each other, so we're talking to one another, but a lot of times as we're just talking into the ether, and then I see all these like spam replies and different things like on social media, you guys are like a life preserver out there, in the world, and it's nice to know that you're hearing us and that you're listening, and that things that we say resonate, or that you're going through similar things. Obviously a huge reason why we do this is to prove to ourselves and one another that we're never alone.
Yeah.
And
truly.
Yeah. You guys truly. That are talking back, both
a lot, yeah.
To the pod when we don't know that you're doing it, and also when you're reaching out to us personally. It means a lot. It really does.
That feeling of like we all kind of went through of like at some point in our lives of like, I gotta just delete Facebook. Like I've got to delete.
Oh God, I do it all. I do it weekly.
I do it all the time. But then you have FOMO, right? You think, what am I going to miss? What would
I be missing?
Like, where's the world going to go without me?
Right.
If I'm not part of the wave. Even if you're not contributing to it like I do. That's kind of, there have been times where I've thought about the show like that. I'm like, how great is it that like we have this sort of, what's the term for relationships that are on the internet?
Parasocial.
Parasocial. Like, I don't go out and socialize all the time. I don't like go hang out in public a lot. But it's really, really great. It is like a tether. It is like a life
raft,
a life support, whatever system for like emotional support system in a way for us as creators of just like knowing 100%. That we're connecting with people out there in the world who have the same thoughts we have, who feel the same things that we feel. And they, just listen to us bullshit for a couple hours every other week.
It's it's really important. I mean, what you guys do is important. You say what we say or do is important sometimes, but what you do in terms of the feedback and the things that you want to know more about, requesting episodes. I mean, that's huge. I was going to talk about this, and I was a little bit hesitant, but like, we're 3 years into this now, and obviously just the way that my mind works, the way that your mind works, we tend to gravitate towards certain content, or like there were episodes that I was like, I am so excited to do this. I have loved this my whole life. And I can't wait to dive into it. And then there are episodes that are a little more intimidating, where it's like, I don't know a whole lot about this. Like, right. I don't know what I'm getting into. And I think as we continue to,
those are so fun though.
It's been so fun. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, as we continue to kind of explore these like uncharted waters with things that we maybe didn't see as kids, I feel like I'm excited for the direction of the show as we move forward into 2025 and beyond, because I've now exhausted a lot of the, like, I know this like the back of my hand sort of stuff.
Right.
And we're getting into
I feel
things
like
I
I
don't
still
know as
have
well.
so much to do of some things that meant a lot to me that I
Yeah,
know very
yeah.
well. I feel like I have a lot left.
Yeah.
But I've tackled a lot of the, more requested things, I guess. But we still have so many things that have been requested that we still haven't covered yet. A lot of requests.
So many. I hope we're planning to get to some of those too this year.
Well, I mean, we covered a ton this year. I mean, we just, there's just so many. Like, it's hard. We have to balance it with what's being requested and things that we're like, well, we wanted to do this from the beginning, so
But
we
the
should
thing
also
is,
do that
even when
too.
we do those things, obviously there are always people that come out and saying like, "Oh my God, I can't believe somebody talked about this." I'm not sure if you saw this, Christian. We got in our DMs the other day somebody that found us from an Instagram ad, and they said that Halloween Tree is one of their favorite movies of all time, and they never see anybody talk about it, and they were so excited to dive into our episodes about it. And they had created their own like Halloween tree out of like jewelry wire, and they had made like a Pipkin little pumpkin, and like they have like they work on it like with clay or whatever, and they were like, "I can show you if you want," and they sent it to us in our DMs, and I'm like, "This is so cool!" Like just connecting about
didn't see
things.
this.
You gotta go look. You gotta go look.
Oh my God.
Connecting with people about things that you thought you were the only one. Like we talk about that sometimes.
That's
We talk
so
about that
cool.
often, but when we were children as millennials, we didn't have a way to connect to each other, and so now here we are on this internet, wading through the nonsense and the bots and the spam and everything else to find each other. There's something beautiful about that.
I'd say so. I mean, it fits in kind of a post-apocalyptic sort of worldview, because that's kind of what we're looking at. But it is beautiful. It is nice. It is really nice.
Well, speaking of all of that and how grateful we are for you, Darklings, Christian gave his life update. I guess I'll give a little mini one, and then we can jump into some questions that we have from all of you. A lot of you have also asked or reached out to me about health stuff throughout the year and commiserated with me about just chronic health issues and living life like that. And I am basically the same, more or less. I had an oncology checkup in December. I'll have another one in May. I'll keep doing that indefinitely, probably.
Probably forever, yeah.
Probably forever, and that's okay, as long as it's okay. I
It's
did
good
find
so
out at
we
that
know.
right. I did find out at that oncology appointment that my oncologist that did my operations last year just up and moved. She's no longer in town. She's in Atlanta. No one told me, never got that information. So that's a little bit of a bummer, because if you know me or have heard my saga at all, you know that I just have issues with like finding the right healthcare professionals and being treated properly by said healthcare professionals. I have a history of just really bad luck in that arena.
Yeah, I don't think you're the only one right now.
No, definitely not.
There's a lot of that going around.
Yeah.
I just almost spat on my technology. I just took a big sip of water, and I didn't know about that either.
I didn't really talk about that too much, but really unfortunate. So I'm kind of in a position, and it's really funny, not funny, it's horrible, but my doctor that referred me to these oncologists, there are 3 oncologists at this practice, and mine, one of the 3, left. So now there are 2, and of the 2, one
treated you poorly.
She wasn't an oncologist, actually. I was mistreated by an MD, but my doctor that referred me, the one that like saved my life in the emergency room, you guys were there. Some of you Darklings were there. You remember this stuff. The one that helped me out referred me over, and she referred me to this specific oncologist that has moved away. But she also said she also liked one of the other 2, but she didn't say the other one. And I've been put on the roster of the one that she didn't talk about. Part of the issue is that I would like to see a female for this particular issue. I don't have an issue with male doctors. I do have an issue with reproductive health and reproductive health care in general in America, et cetera, and being treated poorly by doctors of all genders in the past. So it's a little bit triggering. I'm not sure how I'm going to handle it moving forward, but that's that. And I'll continue to get updates, and I'll let you guys know if things change on that front. As far as my like daily life and my stuff that I was dealing with at this time last year. And I think I shared a whole lot in detail on our Campfire chat for 2024. My diet is still limited. It's kind of the same. I'm really in a tough spot with that too. I'm happy to talk about it. People reach out sometimes and say, like, especially after we did our Halloween tree episode, we had several people reach out and say that, they felt less alone in their chronic illness. Just hearing about it. I always want to make sure people know that you're not, like, you may feel very alone and it may be very isolating, but you are not alone in those experiences. There are other people dealing with it. There are other people having to, like, simultaneously live a life too, because that's the thing that gets me. It's like, there is so much that I miss out on that it's very important to me to live the life that I can live where I can live it. And I hope that that's what people, are hearing from me and getting from me. And I'll keep doing the same thing. I keep trucking. I was talking to some people at an event that I had for work, and I was kind of sharing a little bit with them about what I was going through and how I can't really eat anything. I can't do a lot of the things that I used to be able to. And it's not, it's not definitive. I don't know exactly what I have, but, whatever disorder that I'm dealing with affects me environmentally, food, everything. And they were saying, like, oh, I could never do it. I don't know how you do it. I don't understand how you do it. And it's like, I don't either. You know what I mean? Like, I don't either. I just have to live.
Well,
like,
that's human nature. That's just how it works. Like, you never think you can survive a situation or a scenario until you're thrown into it with no safety net. You have no other option but to do the thing.
Right.
And
I've been doing the thing for over a year, and it's not fun, but it's, like you were talking about earlier with the missing out. It's like I do miss out on a lot of things, but anything that I can have part in or take part in or be part of, I feel very strongly about. So,
no, I feel that.
Yeah, we're just hoping for healing of all kinds in 2025. In a lot of ways, we have, talking about podcast goals and things, we've had a couple of sponsors this year. One of those being BetterHelp. Therapy is really important.
Manscaped and BetterHelp, just two opposite ends of the spectrum.
Very opposite ends of the spectrum. But just, like, therapy is really important. And if you've considered it or thought about it, obviously, like, I don't love resolutions because I have ADHD and I'm, like, I am very perfectionistic in those ways. Like, if I mess something up early on, I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
But every day can be a day that you change your life. Like, any day can be a day that you change your life.
Somebody write that down.
Therapy is a great way to do that if you're not sure where to start, especially. Even if it's just to get your thoughts together or to better understand where you are right now. It doesn't have to be a long-term thing. It can. I think it should for a lot of people. It definitely should for me. But that being said, like, even if you're just not sure where to go from here, the first of the year is a time when a lot of people are thinking about things like that. So
I'll be down at the creek. I'll be down at the creek.
Exactly. So if you're considering that, don't forget about BetterHelp. But, anybody that you trust, anybody
shameless
locally, like,
sponsor plug.
Shameless sponsor plug. But I just think it's important.
Any kind of therapy is good. I think seek it out.
Beyond just saying it's important to seek out therapy, I think it's important to normalize mental health care and seeking mental health care that we need, be it, medication, be it therapy, whatever you need. Mental health care is just as important, if not more so, than our physical health care. None of which are great. We recognize that we are in broken systems, and we are very conscious of the class issues that are at play there. But I don't know. I just always want to be a voice that's encouraging in that way, because it's hard. It's hard to go through it. Nothing really makes it easier, but somehow knowing that even in your isolation you aren't alone means a lot. So there's that for me.
There it is.
I am more than chronic health issues. I am a whole person outside of that, but I think that that's a relevant thing to talk about in our Campfire chat. So
yeah, I think so.
If you wonder if I'm a whole person, just listen to our back catalog of 90 episodes.
There's so much stuff before you were diagnosed. Yeah.
We'll get into but not even just before I was diagnosed, but like afterward, Oh,
afterward too, for sure.
Opinions, thoughts, music, TV. I watched a whole lot of movies this year. I watched 88 movies. I do this thing on my personal Instagram. I do it for myself, but then I end up putting it on Instagram because I get to talk to a lot of people about it, which is what I do love, is connecting to people through art. But I always post the movies that I watch. I started keeping track during the like height of the pandemic, and since then, you know, each year I've given a total, and this was the most that I've watched. I got a little bit competitive with myself because I realized about 3 weeks before the end of the year that my previous record was in 2021 when I watched 78 movies, and I was like, I was at like 72 or something, and I was like, I can totally beat that.
Yeah.
And I did with Flying Colors. So stuff like that. I love to connect on art. And
you'll have to do 98 next year.
God, I don't know if I can do 98. 88 was a lot.
No, you know, just go ahead. 100 movies.
Why not?
2020.
Even 100.
Why not?
Just make it a goal.
There's a whole 100 years of a backlog of films that need to be seen.
You're right. You're not.
That's
wrong
more
about
what
that
I
at all.
want to do. I care less about modern films. I want to go back and watch everything that's ever been made. That meant something to the world, you know. That's what I want to do.
I had somewhat of a mix, but obviously, as you all know, we have a sweet spot in the 80s and 90s, so I do tend to find myself back there as often as I can. Yeah. And just a good old-fashioned, like, early 2000s rom-com will also do it for me.
Matthew McConaughey.
These are just, like, Robert Downey Jr. really in the 90s, but, like, these are just time capsules. And I like to go back to that feeling. That's, you know...
just kids hanging out, no cell phones in sight.
Right. We talk about it a lot of times. I love that I get to mention it right now. It's going to make Christian so angry. But
oh, Lord.
I was just thinking about it this past week because the week between Christmas and New Year's is kind of weird. It's kind of liminal. We don't know where we're going. We don't know who we are.
Just saw a meme that said every day feels like a Sunday.
Kind of, yeah. Because you know it's coming. You know, like everybody's about to circle back. Oh,
it's
God.
Inevitable. It's inevitable. Yeah.
I saw that meme. It's
everyone's circling back.
Everyone's circling back. Oh, God. All at the same time. Like, you know it's coming, but you don't know exactly when, and you can't feel it out.
I'm getting more phone calls than ever, all day, every day right now.
Same.
With the house sale and the house purchase. It's driving me nuts.
It's wild, but in that space, even though I was pursuing this goal of all these movies, once I reached the goal, once 2024 ended, I was like, I have a little bit of space to rewatch some things. Like, I did some rewatching last year, but not as much as in past years. Honestly, when I got sick, that was all I did was rewatch things. So my total for 2023 was way lower. But in this space, I was like, all I want to do right now is watch a Mary-Kate and Ashley movie.
No one can. You snuck it into a Campfire chat.
I snuck them into a Campfire chat.
We need to just go ahead and cover a Mary-Kate and Ashley and just get it over with.
Honestly, the case of Thorn Mansion was written
that one
for this show.
Which one's the sleepover one that was so scary?
Oh yeah, Sleepover Party, which there are a lot of like very cursed memes about that one.
That one scared me as a kid.
It's a little spooky. Give me pizza. But Mary-Kate and Ashley has a very special place in my heart because I was talking to somebody about it.
Well, they have a special place in my heart, but for different reasons.
Maybe similar reasons, who knows? But I think that I really felt very when I was watching these movies. So I'm, what is it? I don't know, like 6 or 7 years younger than them. I don't know exactly. And I was watching it, maybe not even that much, but I was watching those movies when I was so young, and all of my life was ahead of me. Like, I felt that, you know, like there are a lot of things that we cover on the show that I feel that way about, but there's something about those Mary-Kate and Ashley movies that my parents had on VHS, and they would take the middle seat out of the minivan when we would go on a road trip to the Tennessee Smoky Mountains with me and my sister, and they would take the middle seats out, so it was a big roomy minivan, and they'd put us in the back seat, and they'd have this like TV VCR combo sitting between their seats.
Yeah.
And 90% of the tapes that we consumed on those trips were Mary-Kate and Ashley, over and over and over. So when I watch those, it's not only that like nostalgia for being 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old and just having the whole world in front of you, but it's also like a road trip, possibility, hope. Like I associate all of those feelings with
associate those movies with like sleepovers with my sister and her friends, because they were girls watching these movies, and I was always involved because I was the younger brother.
Tagging along.
So I always watched them. I watched whatever they watched. Yeah.
And God, but it just feels so good to like go back to that feeling.
Friday night, Saturday night, sleepover. Yeah.
Right.
It's a good vibe. It really is. I'm not
It's a good feeling when like life was ahead of you.
I'm going to feel
especially
really
when you're in a
weird watching
position-
those movies again now.
Sure.
But
yeah,
like,
I'm
more
sure
so
they're
than
different
anything else
as a
we've
male in your
covered.
30s.
As a male in my 30s, just hanging out, probably alone, watching Mary-Kate and Ashley movies. Let's do those later in the year when I don't live alone anymore.
Okay.
After January. No,
Okay.
God, no. See, we have to wait till at least the summer. Wait till the
Yeah.
summer, then, because that's when
Because
Lauren's going to
seasonally
move
you have
in.
to watch.
I'm still going to live alone until late May.
Okay.
Then they're going to move in with me.
Gotcha.
So I'll still be alone. So we have to wait till at least June.
Until you have company.
June.
Fair
I give
enough.
you permission, Mary-Kate and Ashley.
I can.
We're
put
making the
Mary-Kate
schedule
and
right
Ashley
now.
on the schedule in June.
You can put it in June.
That's
Permission
true. I did
granted.
put it like a tentative schedule in there.
Yeah, there you
in
go.
our like shared drive of
There you go.
documents. So we'll see how 2025 shakes out. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of space, a lot of room for growth potential, all those things.
But
that we
Mary-Kate
hope to
and
share with
Ashley.
you all. No, yeah, that was all I was going to say. That being said, as Kaylin has been both sick and sappy all over our campfire chat.
Well, I'll go ahead and briefly say my mother is doing better. For anybody who was concerned,
nice.
Rusty reached out. I haven't responded to Rusty yet, but thank you so
Aw.
much. You're such a sweet
So
person. I love you.
We love you so much.
But it's just been I've been doing too many things. But she is on medication. She's doing a hell of a lot better. Pam was able to enjoy her holidays as much as she
I
could
asked, and I'm
without
so glad to hear.
my sister and her kids getting sick and they couldn't come into town. So that was a huge bummer.
Yeah.
But otherwise, she's had a good time. So,
Yep, we love Mama Mott as well, and we are always
yeah.
wishing her the best.
Yes, absolutely. Justice for Pam. Justice for Pamela. Pamela Mott. Or
That
Pam
being
Baxter
said,
Mott.
should we dive into some questions that we have
Please,
from
'cause we are
listeners?
40 minutes in, and we didn't think we get this far without
We
listening
didn't.
to
We were
questions.
both very nervous as we approached this.
We
with
sat
our
down and we were like,
minimal
what are we
agenda.
gonna talk
What are we
about?
going to say? But there's always stuff to say to you guys.
What?
We are sitting here with our best friends. So, like,
I think we
It's-
surprise
it's fine.
ourselves every other week
Or
about
if-
how much we have to say.
if not every single week.
If not, yeah, exactly.
Let's see. Okay. So, this is going to steer us back into some podcast listening. So, for all you
Let's do
darklings
it.
who
I'm gonna get my
tuned us
decanter.
out when we were being people for a second.
Got to get my Irish
Um,
whiskey. Go ahead.
Hey, we are now your ghost hosts. We're back in the podcast saddle, and a lot of these questions have to do with, things that we covered in 2024.
Let's see if my brain works and I can remember anything that happened this year,
Right.
other than podcast episodes.
Our dear darkling and good friend, and really amazing person in general, Dan, has asked a couple questions. We'll reference some of his. Thank you so much, Dan. You rock.
So Dan the man.
Dan the man. So Dan first asked us to share our favorite episodes that we've covered this year. I guess maybe he said favorite episode. I'll give me one and you one. So
I guess I'll just pull up my freaking list. No, I already know. It's the Taily Poe Big Toe episode.
yeah,
Something about that for me was it was a moment in time in
it
my
was
life.
that for sure.
I don't know why. I don't know where it came from. It was always a possibility. We were always going to potentially cover it. Kaylin had no idea what that was going to be. I was the only person in the whole world who knew that these things were connected. And that's not true. I found a few sources that also drew the connection. Something about that research, everything that I found, really surprised me in a lot of ways and made me very, very excited. Like we've said it's been a difficult year. I had a lot of stuff happen that I didn't talk about much. And we kind of joked about it here and there. I had a really, really hard year. And it was just like one punch after the other. I couldn't stand back up sometimes. But something about getting to the Taily Poe, Big Toe combination of like history, folklore, themes, motifs, everything thrown together just sort of happened all at the perfect time in my life when things were being put back together and started to feel good. That was like the next episode that I did.
Gotcha.
And it just clicked with me in a way that, I don't know, it reached into my own personal past, in my own exploration as a Southern person who's never been Southern.
Yeah, I relate.
I don't identify as a Southerner, but like, that's why I always include the Baxter in my name, Christian Baxter Mott. Like, I always include it now because that had to do with my my own spiritual journey into like my family history and accepting that I'm also a Baxter and like reclaiming the name as not just my middle name, but like my mother's maiden name and like part of her, that's a whole family line. And so all that was like wrapped up in me accepting my identity as a Southern person who grew up in the Southeast on the Gulf Coast.
Yeah.
And that's when I began to fully embrace the whole Southern Gothic genre, aesthetic, the whole idea, the whole concept of what that is. And finding something that fits into our podcast so perfectly for so many reasons. For the Talipo to be an Appalachian, specifically Southeastern motif and a story, a folklore, a folk tale, and how its origins lived in the Big Toe, which was a distinctly Southern variation on the Golden Arm and all these old grave robbing stories. It just made my inner child very happy. It made little baby Christian very, very happy, and like, I don't know, warmed my weird little black heart in a way. It's covered in cobwebs, but it lit a fire in that hearth somewhere deep inside of me that made me feel okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it
like
was one of those
Holiday
times
in
where
the Sun, Mary Kate and Ashley did
yeah,
for me.
perfect
No,
example, perfect
I get it.
comparison right there. I know I'm talking in circles at this point, but
No.
that's why it meant so much to me.
I get
and
that.
I feel like we executed it really well. And I feel like we did a really good job with it. And I'm proud of the research that I did.
Yeah,
and I'm proud of the
that's
way
great.
that we handled it. More so than I think anything we've done, at least in a while.
Yeah.
We
this
had a
year,
really
for sure.
good year.
That was your,
we had
that
a
was your thing.
good year.
God, we had a great year.
I don't know how you guys feel about like how we've changed things and how we've grown, but we both feel like we had a really good year as far as like the research and the way we were
settling
able to
into the way that we do the show, the way that we
handle
write the show,
the content. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like we have a slightly more mature approach to topics and things. We're not as afraid to talk about specific things as we used to be.
Absolutely.
We used to kind of go, how do we talk about this? And now we're like, well, it's like
this,
obviously like this, right?
Yeah, we've developed, those like
we got some chops,
instincts.
We got some chops.
Yeah.
But yeah, not to toot our own horns too much, but to be as authentic as possible. That's one of our goals with the show as well, is authenticity.
Always.
I feel like we had a good year, and I feel like that was a really great episode, and I'm proud of it.
I love that you brought
I'm proud
that to
of
the
it.
table because we both, we talk about it sometimes, but like we both have kind of a complicated like relationship with our place of origin and
in the Bible Belt, not
Bible
just the
Belt.
South, but this is the Bible
Sure.
Belt, people.
Yes. We both have a
Black
complicated relationship
Belt.
with that because we do appreciate a lot of the history, a lot of the like resonance that is found here in our coastal living situation. But it's also, there's a lot of darkness, there's a lot of heaviness. And I really like when we can, like you were saying, kind of like stoke the flames, the embers of the things that we do love about that culture.
Yeah.
It's really important to get back to the things that we
'Cause
love because God
there
knows
is
there are a lot of
beauty.
things that we disagree with or don't love.
There is
at the same
beauty
time.
in the South,
Oh,
the
yeah.
South. There is
Yes.
beauty of the Southern people. There is
Yes.
beauty here if you know where to look for it, but you really have to look for it beneath
Yeah.
all the bullshit.
I really love that you're bringing that to the show because I think that's important to both of us, but too, especially you. And I mean, you taught me
It's
a lot with that too. So
Become part of my identity,
yeah,
oddly.
the Talipo.
I'm still...
Give him back
it's-
his Talipo, you guys, so
back
he can
his
get
tail.
get over it.
And someone did recently say, is this like an allegory for using every bit of the animal, not just one part of it? And that's an interesting point. that, we don't have time to get into, but that is also a very like holistic approach to hunting, to thank the animal for its sacrifice. That's a very Native American approach to having to survive.
We are one, like
believing
survival. In the chain, links in the chain of the events that led us here, and respecting it.
It's the transference of life and energy from one entity to the next, like one body to the next. But that's with the full acceptance that, we too will die, and something else will eventually consume us. It may be just Mother Nature herself. It might just be the earth. And, we hope we grow flowers or a tree or something. But,
God, don't we ever.
It's all memento mori, but so that was an interesting point that we didn't bring up with that episode. But
we could do a whole episodes on what do you wish you had said.
Oh my God, I'm so glad we're past the whole.
That might be a fun little thing we could bring to a Patreon. What do you wish that you had talked about?
The number of times we sat down to re-record conversations and plug it into the episode.
Ooh, not as often as we used to, but God.
No, it's been a while. Thank God it's been a while.
If we're talking about favorites here, and I get to pick a favorite
it,
that I did from 2024.
Pick a favorite. Let's go.
It's so difficult because I did cover a lot of my absolute favorite childhood content this year. Like I really hit some big titles that I had been waiting to do for years. I think if I had to pick a favorite,
be Holes.
It would be Holes. Like
it's
hard.
I knew
it's really hard to say, but I think Holes was great. Because of a lot of the same reasons, ironically. Like even though, we were going to the history of like Louis Sacker and why he made Holes and whatever, all of the conversation about the generational ties, the links, the curses that you're breaking.
It's also a southern story.
It's a southern story. I was having I feel like this summer was a really good time for me, like just in life. I felt like I was existing again as opposed to, or like living again as opposed to just existing, I guess. I had a little bit of reprieve from some of the health symptoms, and I was just like, I'm here. I'm a person and I'm here. And I was doing that research. I had a lot of fun doing that research. So it definitely means a lot to me that we got to cover Holes, and it also means a lot to me that has been like a huge episode for the Darklings as well. Like a lot of people quote the movie, remember the movie. Like it meant a lot to a lot of people, and so I felt really honored to like bring that to life, I guess.
And we'll say
that's pretty dark.
You picked this over Balto and
big deal.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Huge deal.
I picked the Tailypo over, hold on, I just found it, The Face in the Milk Carton, and Halloween Tree.
Yeah. Big ones.
Which I love the Halloween Tree. That was a great time.
Also major.
That was a great time. So if we hadn't done the Tailypo, Big Toe, it would have been Halloween Tree.
God, if we hadn't done Holes, it would probably have to be Balto. And then we got to talk with David and get to hear perspectives from someone that created something that I love, which you can't top that. Like if we're going to talk about favorite things, that has to be mentioned.
Such a great dude. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Hand in hand with that, there are a couple more episode specific questions. What was the most challenging episode that we've done this year? Holes was very difficult in terms of research, as was Willy Wonka. Those were both just really, really a lot of time consuming research, but I felt like I was moving the whole time, if that makes sense. Like I knew where I was headed and I was getting there.
Yeah.
Challenging though, to be entirely honest, I would say probably Cats Don't Dance was the most challenging for me.
Yeah.
Because for whatever reason, as I was researching it, I was like, how do I talk about these things without just, I want to give voice to like people of color. I want to give voice to people that are not me, having these lessons be so embedded in the content. So it was just really tough to like, how do I do justice to this in the right way? How do I be like respectful, and how do I also like pay tribute to something that meant a lot to me? There were just a lot of threads that I had to like follow, and a lot of dots that I had to connect.
Yeah, no, I feel that for sure. I'm just looking
So
through our catalog.
it was probably just the
here.
toughest to like for me to write, I would say.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I think, I don't know. I mean, Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland was a lot. We did 5 hours of Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland. So I feel like that was, I remember that feeling like a lot at the time. But Gremlins, I feel like I had trouble with Gremlins just recently. But that's just because I was so busy. There was so much happening.
Right.
But
there's a difference between like life being challenging and the research being challenging.
I think
sometimes both happen at once.
I think I would have to say Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland. Probably Nemo. Just because there was so much to it, and yeah, we got 5 hours out of it. So that was a slog. I mean, not that it wasn't fun. I mean, I remember telling friends about it, and I was so excited for the content of like, this is some of the coolest stuff, we've talked about, because it reached so far back into history and, with everything.
We love to do
and
that.
all the different variations on the story itself and how it could still be done differently today. But yeah.
Okay, let's see.
So those were challenging, for sure.
Similar but different question. Are there any episodes that changed your opinion on something? I mean, if we dive back into the archives, I talk about Labyrinth a lot as having
the whole show for the past 3 years.
But no, let's stick with 2023 or 2024. Let's stick with 2024.
Let's get the year right first, I think.
That's important. See, when I say last year, I'm still saying 2023, but I gotta fix that. We had a lot of themes of like racism and how to confront change, etc. I wouldn't say that it changed my opinions, but I do think that I found some unexpected like avenues to have those conversations in places that I didn't really, as a child grasp to that degree. I really enjoyed being able to go back to those places now with the perspective that I have now, and also carry that forward to whomever may be listening on the other end of this microphone. That meant a lot to me. I wouldn't say it changed my perspective, but it definitely affirmed and strengthened a lot of things that I have come to believe as an adult. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe Cats Don't Dance, just because I didn't know a lot of that history in Hollywood. I didn't know. I knew some of it. I was aware of the racial differences in old Hollywood, but I wasn't really fully aware to the extent that we discussed.
Right.
A lot of the stuff that you brought to the table was more enlightening.
Is it a changed perspective? I don't know, but is it, opened minds, opened eyes, which is so important to me all the time. Like, open my mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about everything now. Is just like...
Sorry. I just
Go ahead.
I just remembered that we covered the Monster Mash. So, yeah, my perspective changed on the Monster Mash.
My perspective on the Monster Mash changed greatly.
My opinions changed on the Monster Mash completely this year. I think we just bullshat around this question for a minute. It's the Monster Mash. Let's stop kidding ourselves.
Things that we never knew and never knew we wanted to know and maybe didn't want to know.
I feel like I respect the song less now that I know what I know. So probably, to answer the question, it's the Monster Mash. That's the one that changed.
Good answer. And we're back. And take ourselves a little ladies' room break.
Yes, I did enjoy the ladies' room. Those are always nicer than the men's rooms.
The girls' room.
They always smell nicer. Oh, yeah. Oh, I remember.
I remember, too. Good times. Great oldies.
How could I ever forget?
I quote that a lot, and I never know if it's something that other people know, because I think it was a local radio station. And it hit me maybe like 5 years ago as a grown-up that I was saying something often that other people probably had no idea what I was saying. Good times, great oldies.
It's probably
oldies 106.4 or whatever it was. 106.1.
Probably just thought you were really weird.
Oh, well, on that subject, let's see. Our friend Dan just continues to surprise and delight us with insightful, thoughtful questions about the episodes that we've covered. And we love spending time in this headspace, honestly. he asked to pick one show or movie that we covered this year to get a reboot.
Mine is totally Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland.
What? That shocks me. You're just
shocking.
You're full of it. That's not your answer.
Just
Really?
kidding. The Monster Mash. We need
Okay,
another
thank you.
reboot.
That's far more believable.
We need to do the Monster Flight. I think that's the only thing next.
Okay.
It's the Monster
A
Flight.
flight. A reboot is difficult because I guess like Balto technically had a reboot, but did it though?
Yeah.
Like I would give Balto a reboot if David and like if it could be written by the original writers, David and Roger, like if they could reboot it, I would do that. Let's see. We're both like scrolling our Spotify.
I am scrolling it.
How silly.
Well, I mean, they could make a new, better movie version of The Face in the Milk Carton. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. It's so funny because
We don't need any more
Willy
Wonka.
Wonka got a reboot. I think it stayed where it needed to stay. Yeah, I'm good with that. Leaving that where it is.
No, we don't need to touch the Halloween tree.
Are You Afraid of the
Too
Dark?
good.
Technically got a reboot also. Really, the only thing that I'm seeing, other than maybe Cats Don't Dance, which I'd like to see where they're at, I guess, like a full musical episode, Darla.
That could be cool, I guess. Yeah.
I'd be down with that.
Yeah.
But really, the only thing that doesn't kind of have something in the works other than Cats Don't Dance is Holes.
Yeah.
And
But it was so. But you can't.
You can't. I don't know where
improve
you'd put
upon
it.
perfection.
Yeah. So I think if I had to answer that question, it would be Cats Don't Dance. Although, I think we're going to get into it a little bit. I think we're going to get into it a little bit with some of these other questions. But Hey Arnold, we touched on it. We will touch on it every year.
Oh, they could
until
bring
we're
that
gone.
back 100 times over.
Hey
and
Arnold is
be
really
all
the
right.
only thing that we cover that I think is sorely lacking in today's media landscape and
Yeah.
could easily make it come back.
Yeah. And we know they're doing Gremlins 3, so it's getting the reboot it needs.
It's already getting it.
It's already happening.
Let's see. Okay.
I want to see Ray Bradbury's Little Nemo. That's what I want.
Well, I would be okay with that, I guess.
That's what I want.
I'd be okay with that. Which characters in the things that we've covered do we feel the most connected to?
The whole show, or just this year?
Let's go with the whole show. Why not?
Oh, most connected to the whole Midnight Society?
The Midnight Society.
The Midnight
Big.
Society.
We're part of the Midnight Society, honorary.
I think it has to be that.
Not really. I don't know. It's a
I don't
tricky
know.
question. Obviously, we're already saying it. I feel very, very connected to Arnold Shortman. I just do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm looking. I mean, Courage. We both talk about
Krista in Fern Gully.
That's
Maybe
good.
not so much as I've gotten older, but when I was younger, I really connected with her. I really felt similar to her. Like, she's a lot more, I feel like, naive than I have ever been. Like, there have been times when I've been naive, but I feel like I've actively tried to seek out knowledge and things like that, even early on, when it was maybe discouraged or not as readily available to me. But even still, she has this, like, idealism underlying
Yeah.
that I connect with.
I think
sure.
I mostly relate to Hexus. Just in
You got all kinds of toxic love, so
physique,
makes sense.
form, sensuality. It is
Texas
very Hexus. in a
nailed
way.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nailed it.
I don't know.
I
There's
love that question
That's
because
a really,
the characters
really good
are at the heart
question.
of everything that we do. They always have meant a lot to me.
But then again, the Goonies.
The Goonies.
That's kind of where I live too. I've lived there for a very, very long time, as far as
and Sarah
just
from
my
Labyrinth.
approach to life.
Sarah from Labyrinth, just growing up, realizing things were not what you thought they were, but that doesn't mean that you can't work with them.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow, here
There's
we
a
are just
lot.
scrolling back through.
Are you guys bored? Are you bored of us?
I definitely don't relate to Pinocchio.
Nor the Brave Little Coaster. And I'm grateful for that.
Please God, no. No. Yeah, I think we answered it. I think we have some good options there of people we think we relate to.
Yeah. I'm satisfied. I'm happy with those.
I'm happy with our
answers.
answer we gave. Casper.
The non-answers that we gave.
Uh-huh.
No, I would say cat more so than Casper.
It's
For
such
me.
a deep question. I don't even...
Right? You've stumped us. We really just don't even know where to begin. We're just deflecting
Mostly
because
related.
it's so deeply personal and reaches into our very souls. On that same theme, I guess,
Mikey
VL
from the
Hawkins
Goonies.
23 asked our fave 90s darkling coded couple. And then they said that theirs is Buffy and Angel, which well played.
Oh, yeah, that's a good...
Absolutely well played.
It's a really good choice.
Sticking with
Yeah.
my
Oh,
answers
shoot.
thus far, Arnold and Helga come to mind.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat it. Although I am imagining a distant future where Arnold is consenting to all of the love that Helga is bestowing upon him.
It's pretty one-sided. It's a one-sided romance.
It is really one-sided. And it's like, I've never even really been that way, like the way Helga is. I just think it's so, representative of the way it feels to have a crush.
Yeah.
Even if I've never built a shrine to someone, just the way that you care for someone, you see their essence and who they are, and, that whole thing. I love that. I think that's, I'm okay with that part of it. It gets a little creepy in other circumstances, but I'm okay with that. Sam and Catherine and Holes, which they are perfect.
Oh, that I think that's the one.
I can fix that.
I don't know. Maybe Casper and Cat. I like Casper and Cat. I think.
Casper and Cat. That's a great one. I
think Casper and Cat. I keep trying to find a funny example. Who is in love with Rocco? Rocco's Modern Life.
Oh, I can't remember.
I can't find her name.
If you hadn't asked me, maybe I could have told you. But I
Cat
feel
dog. They're in love with each other for sure.
Oh yeah, they're absolutely in love with each other.
Keenan and Kel, probably.
Definitely Keenan and Kel.
Oh, man.
I do love Clarissa and what's his name? I'm gonna get it wrong. Is his name Sam?
Oh yeah, Clarissa. I was thinking more of
Comes in
Sabrina.
our window.
Sabrina and what's his face?
Oh, Harvey.
Harvey. Mm-hmm.
Sabrina and Harvey. That's good too.
That's fun.
Y'all know that's my kind of question. I'm all about that. I could dive into the annals of my
Yeah.
watch
Definitely.
logs.
Oh my God. Definitely not Labyrinth with the goblin.
Yes and no. Jareth and Sarah. It's
Jareth
a very
and Sarah?
much a yes and no for me.
From
It's
Sarah's perspective, but
from
not
Sarah's
from
point of view,
Jareth's.
but not from Jareth's. Jareth's A+. A+.
Cat and Casper. Cat and Casper.
That's your answer. Let's see.
Gotta
What
be,
else are
gotta
we?
be.
All right. This is tricky, or it could be, I guess. Pick one world from a topic covered to live in for all of 2025.
Oh my God.
You're gonna live in the world of the Talipo, aren't you?
Sounds terrible. It's a terrible idea. Well, I feel like yours has to be Hillwood,
Hillwood. Yeah.
right?
I if I were to pick a world from anything that I remember from my childhood, other than just what's the town they live in Dawson's Creek, or somewhere idyllic and
Yeah.
90s vibes like that. If I had to pick something
But
specifically
is it
from
from
what
something
we've
we've covered though?
um,
Well, it would
or Stars
either.
Hollow, we haven't covered the Gilmore Girls. So I would
No.
say if I had to pick something from something we've covered, it would have to be Hillwood, because Hillwood has the grit and the reality, the very down to earth reality,
Yeah.
but it also has the spiritual, mystical, magical side to it.
Yeah, I feel that.
There is that
I
in
feel
Hillwood
that.
as well. So if I had to live somewhere for 2025, I'd pick Hillwood.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling back through. Hillwood's a really good choice.
Certainly not nowhere.
Yeah, not nowhere. Absolutely
Anywhere
not.
but nowhere.
Anywhere but nowhere. If I have to pick something other than Hillwood, Ocean Shores, California, Rocket Power.
Rocket Power.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting that the place that we're choosing for, where to live, is a series. All of them are series.
Series, but also
not films.
animated.
And animated.
Yeah.
What does that tell you about us?
Yeah. Probably those.
Good choices. Can't go wrong.
Hey.
I felt like I did live in
Good job, us.
Ocean Shores, or wherever it is from Rocket Power.
Yeah.
I didn't, but I felt like I did. And that's
Yeah,
half the battle.
Really, Hillwood's the only option.
there is a ghost bride lurking about, so
And a headless cabbie.
you got to be
And a
okay
haunted
with
train.
You got to be okay with those things too. You
I'm
know,
fine
like
with
it's-
those things.
yeah.
I seek out
Take
those things.
the sour with the sweet.
They don't exist here. They exist there. I want to go there.
It's part of why we want to go there.
I want to
That's the
go
appeal.
there.
Let's see. Some questions about like collabing with other podcasts, other things we plan to cover, like knockoff Disney movies. All of those things are definitely on our list. Like we
Yeah.
get asked a lot of the time, like what are we going to cover, like what our plans are. Obviously, we have our season binges that are kind of set, and we move forward and through them, and then we get major films that are requested often. But
Yeah. Yeah.
a little secret for you Darklings, we may have shared this with you before, but the things that we cover are largely decided upon by the neurodivergence departments in our brains that say, this is the thing that you are getting dopamine from right now, therefore this is the thing you're going to cover.
Yeah. We need to
Both
change
of
the
us suffer
schedule.
from that affliction.
Yeah.
So
it happens all the time.
it's basically just the thing from the list of I'm not kidding. We legitimately do have a list.
We have
that
numerous
we add to
lists.
multiple of different topics and varieties of types of content. And when you request something to us, be that through a social DM or an email, we do absolutely add to those lists. So your requests are heard and they are input. And then when
Every
it's
time.
time for us to choose a topic, we peruse those lists and feel out what feels right for the moment. We
Yeah.
do have a tentative schedule that we put together. Like we said, we've got one already in place for 2025. But a lot of the time, the things that we cover end up shifting and changing depending on how we're feeling, what we're going through. And as tricky as that can sometimes be and how difficult that can sometimes be in terms of like sharing or marketing or planning, strangely and almost like in a kismet sort of way,
Yeah.
it has most of the time worked out to be very relevant.
Yeah, truly.
So I'm okay with doing
Yeah.
it that way for another year. We'll see how we feel in 2026, I guess.
Serendipity.
But
It's
you know,
worked out somehow, some way.
somehow, some way,
always happened.
because we both believe in it, and I think that's what happens. On a similar
The powers of the universe.
line of thinking, our good friend Rusty, thank you, Rusty. He said it's been an incredible year. We appreciate hearing that. And he asked us what our plans are to celebrate our upcoming 100th episode, our spectacular 100th episode.
We're just going to start over with Are You Afraid of the Dark from episode 1
And go
just
back
do a better job. I think.
and be the people we wish we could have been 3 years ago.
We know so much more.
We do know more. And
No, I
that's-
actually don't know what we're going to do. We've covered
don't
so many
either.
major things.
There are some thoughts and ideas that I've jotted down for Christian to see, which he hasn't seen yet, but
Not yet.
we've talked about it, and then I feel like there have just been different things that have derailed us, whether it's my health issues or like your life stuff. Like things have happened that have prevented us from doing as much as we want to in terms of like collaboration and hangouts, and we call them hangouts, not so much interviews.
Right.
But I've been myself wondering if it's not the time to start reaching out to some of those heavy hitter interviews that we always say that we want to do and haven't yet done
For a 100.
for a 100th
mark.
episode. So
That's a
there may
good
be some
idea.
emails going out from us soon to people that you all would recognize and know. And if you can just send us some good vibes and some manifesting vibes, if there are creators that you want to hear from.
Well,
I'm
I know
wondering
that
if
I
this
want to
isn't the
talk
year
to
to do that.
DJ McHale.
Exactly.
That's what I want to
The
do.
two that I have in there as like my ideals would
Bartlett.
be DJ McHale and Craig Bartlett.
Yeah. I knew it.
So if one of
Let's
the
get
two
them
of
both on. Let's just compare.
Hey.
Compare, contrast.
Oh, I would love it. I mean, I hope that we do eventually get both
Yeah,
of them
no.
on. And just so you guys know, like, the thing that gets to us a lot of the time, like, we have amazing, podcasters that have reached out about collaborating with us. We do fully intend to be, let's see, there are a couple that have, like, I've talked
gotten
with.
a
and
few
they're, like,
requests,
super
yeah.
cool.
It's just never been a good time.
Like, it's not even that it's never, like, it's not that it's not a good time for the podcast. It's just, like, ends up not being a good time for us personally.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like one of us isn't mentally
isn't
capable
okay.
of doing that.
Right. And that impairs us in some way. And I hate that because part of the reason why this podcast works is that both of us know each other and we can ride those waves with each other.
Yeah, I would say
and
we
I
could,
always
like...
feel guilty if we are, involving someone else in our crazy, in our chaos.
Yeah.
Bro Meets World is the podcast I'm thinking of. They're incredible. You should listen to them if you don't. And they're now, podcast friends of ours, and we've talked about collaboration for a long time.
I think we should just do it.
So I look forward to that, and I do think it's going to happen. It's just a matter of if and when. And if we want to say like goals or resolutions, somebody asked like things that we want to do, or if we've set any resolutions for the podcast for 2025.
Do another hangout with
At
someone
least
that
one.
At least one with someone that means a lot to us, and do a collaboration with another podcast.
I would like to put both of those out there into the universe, and hope dearly that anyone that we've either reached out to or that we've talked with in the past couple of years about those things are still being as patient and as kind as they have ever been to us as we've struggled. Because for either of us to have a conversation with more of these creators, like those have been some of the most impactful episodes to me in our podcast tenure so far, and they're very intimidating to do and very you guys know us, like y'all know us, y'all know that we are just
you think
people.
You know us.
Yeah, at least you think you do, but we're just people, and
me.
we have I was talking with Christian about this earlier, and it's actually kind of on our list to discuss because Rusty had also asked like if we have future thoughts on Patreon content. I don't think of myself as an influencer. I very much feel that imposter syndrome feeling. I get in my head about it. And so when it comes to like talking to people that we admire or care about, I still get in my head about it, even though we have, we've built a knowledge base of just so much over the past 3 years. And yet I still feel like I know nothing and I'm learning everything all the time, every day, Yep. So maybe if we're going to make resolutions and whatever that is, I just want to like step into it, to be podcasters, to be in this creative space and to collaborate with other creative people.
Yeah. I think it's just called
a big one
self-confidence.
Oh, really? Just that? Yeah. That's all it is? And related to that, as far as Patreon content, again, I don't like anytime I go to post something, Christian, we've talked about this before, just with social media in general.
I'm not sitting on 5 bonus episodes right now that I haven't released for no reason.
Right? Like we just have a weird relationship with it because we still, even with our dear, dear, wonderful Patreon supporters who are,
you guys are great,
contributing to us, allowing us to do what we do. Even amongst you all, we still feel like, does anyone care what we have to say? Like, is this worthwhile? Despite you telling us that it is. And definitely, me more so than you.
I'm like, but they want it. Like, let's just do it.
They do. It's just hard for me. So thank you all for your patience where that is concerned. And I would like to be personally more active on the Patreon, just with like, general things like we talked about earlier, with things that we're currently watching or like listening to, because again, you all are our peers. You are also, of our generation. You care about similar things that we do.
You're of similar ilk.
Yes, similar ilk and similarly ill in some ways. And I think if I remember that and kind of hang on to that, I would like to share more of those things with you all on the Patreon and in general in the future.
There's so many things we've said that we're going to do for Patreon. And we just can never seem to make the time to do it.
Yeah, because we are always trying to get that next episode out.
We have so much to do. We just never do it.
Yeah.
And that's on us.
Oh, yeah.
And also on the universe for not giving us time. Mm-hmm. We try. We really want to.
We can carve out a little more time. All of it means a lot to us and is important to us.
I can see the podcasters that we could be. I can see it.
Me too. I can see it in my mind's eye.
It's there. It's there, waiting for us.
Okay, let's see. I think there's at least one other.
Self-actualization.
Whoa.
The only other resolution I have is get another sponsor to replace Manscaped.
Yeah.
because I think our time is up
Maybe so.
as far
And
as Manscaped goes.
It's okay. Like, not every product or every company will be the best fit for the Darkling audience, but we both do care about like promoting things that we either use or care about or believe in.
This is true.
But we also want to find things that resonate and matter to and
with our
are
listeners.
relevant to all of you. So
And the thing is, most of the time, we don't make any money off of the sponsorship unless our listeners utilize
sure.
the discount codes.
Right. Which is why
So-
it's like doubly challenging, because we have to not only secure sponsors that, feel like they're a fit with our content, but also that our, listeners are utilizing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So you can support
podcasting is
us.
hard, y'all.
You can support us by supporting
By supporting
our
them.
sponsors.
True.
Yeah, I've been meaning to look into Quince for like 5 months, and I have not.
Podcasting is tough, but
That's how much time I have.
the thing that we always go back to, the thing that, ends up being the most important to us, is that we are researching diligently. I mean, these are things that we care about, and, we're uncovering history, political, conversation. Like, we're uncovering a lot of media and information that is important to us, and we're finding that is important to all of you as well. And that has always been our main goal, and that's the thing that has carried us through the past 3 years. Like,
The other stuff
even
is
in the
extra.
midst of in the midst of like difficulties personally and different hardships and trying to grow and trying to self-actualize, that has been the foundation of what we've done, and it will continue to be that. So I'm proud of that, and I am grateful for that. I tell Christian all the
Same.
time, like, I love what we do, and it means so much to me. Because not only are we connecting through it, but I'm learning so much
So much.
all the time.
The number of notes
love
I
it.
take for my own personal writing while researching for the podcast. I'm like, oh, that's useful over here. I gotta stop and write this down for my others.
Yeah,
It's like
different
constant-
projects, different ideas.
Constantly just absorbing useful stuff, even if it doesn't make it to an episode.
Yeah.
It's just
And you guys enable us to do that too.
priceless. Yeah, for sure.
We say it all the time, but we're so thankful for you. We've already been in your ears for a little while now.
Longer
We were
than planned.
totally unscripted tonight. We didn't know exactly what all we would cover and stumble into. And yet again, the universe, the serendipity, the Darkling community has provided for us. And it's the best. Like, we just, it means so much to us. And every time we do these Campfire episodes, it's like I go in thinking I don't have anything to say, and then I always do, because
Without fail.
of all of you. Let's leave us off on a real fun little tangent, shall we? Let's just, in true That's Pretty Dark fashion,
Just a
what would it
tangent.
be without just a
No.
weird little vignette
No.
of a moment here together?
We don't do that ever.
Let's see. JCO Vino 3. I'm so sorry about the username pronunciation. Asked for us to pick our top 5 favorite Nickelodeon/Disney shows as a kid. I'll amend and say you can include Cartoon Network if you need to.
Okay. I guess I didn't have Disney, so.
Yeah, and I did. So yeah, that's a good compliment. I
Okay,
would say.
well, I can do just Nickelodeon, but I can also include Cartoon Network. I mean, top number 1 is Are You Afraid of the Dark? I think we can both probably say that's the number 1 one.
Yeah,
Is
I
it
would put
yours?
that at number 1. Yeah,
Hey Arnold.
Hey Arnold would be, if not my number 1, then my number 2.
Yeah.
Hey Arnold would be up there for me, as you have heard now throughout this episode.
Rocket Power.
Rocket Power, for sure.
And
Bill of the Future.
Oh yeah.
Christian won't know that one, but we did get to talk with David about that one, and Roger.
It would have been probably the last is a toss up between SpongeBob. Oh, Real Monsters. How many do I have so far?
I think that's 5 for you.
Okay,
You're not
Real
including
Monsters,
Bill of
and
the
then if I could add more, it would be SpongeBob, The Amanda Show, and all that.
Future. Okay, God.
But what was that?
It's
Are You
really
Afraid of the
hard.
Dark?
Yeah, top one would probably be Are You Afraid of the Dark?
I loved Rugrats
me.
too, and Doug. Cat Dog. I can't
Doug.
pick. How do you pick 5? Why would you do this? Why would you do this?
No,
You're
pick
evil.
5.
You're
Pick
an evil
5.
person.
People want to know.
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Okay. This is Christian's official top 5 ranking.
All right, I have to
Don't
use
get
my
it wrong.
fingers. Hey Arnold. Rocket Power. Real Monsters. I have one more to pick. Oh my God, I can't.
I'm
pick.
using this time very strategically
Oh
because
my
we're trying
God.
for minimal
What have I
edits on
said
this
so
episode.
far?
You said Are You Afraid of the Dark? Hey Arnold.
Hey Arnold.
Rocket Power.
Rocket Power. Real Monsters.
Our Real Monsters.
I have one more. God damn it. My reputation is on the line right now. Rugrats.
Rugrats is in your top 5?
Yeah, I watched it
I would say that's the
religiously.
only thing that surprises me. I also watched it religiously, but I wouldn't like call it my top favorite. Like
Okay,
when I
that's-
watch it back, like if I see clips or moments of it, formative, okay. If the question is was Rugrats formative to Kaylin's existence? Yes. Is it in my top favorite pieces of media?
I don't know, because you also have the Amanda Show and you have all that. I think
The
all
Amanda
that.
Show was also
Okay,
formative.
I
to
think
me.
I'd pick all that above Rugrats. I take it
like
back.
all that was the SNL for
Yeah. Okay.
us.
I take it back. I take it back. All that.
okay. All right.
Not
I can accept
Rugrats.
it. Sorry I questioned you.
No,
I just
but if
didn't
I had
think
to include
it gelled.
Cartoon Network, it's Are You Afraid of the Dark, Courage the Cowardly Dog,
Oh, Courage
then
is second.
Hey Arnold.
Okay, this is big breaking.
Courage
That's
is
Pretty Dark
second to
news.
Are You Afraid of the Dark.
You
but
would
also
put Courage
Goosebumps.
second to Are You
Does
Afraid of the
Goosebumps
Dark?
count?
I would say Goosebumps counts.
Are You Afraid of the
I
Dark?
can't speak for this specific Darkling, but I'll just
Are You
allow
Afraid of the
it.
Dark, Goosebumps, Courage,
I'm intrigued by your top
Rocket Power,
4.
Real Monsters.
Oh, where's Hey Arnold?
God damn it. I can't do it. I can't do this. I quit. I quit the podcast.
He's gone. His headphones are gone. He can no longer hear me. He's out. He's out. That's what I was
Alright.
surprised by, though. That's
I
what I was
overreacted.
surprised by, honestly, is
I
that Hey
overreacted.
Arnold was below Courage for you.
No, Hey, Courage
But
is
it
way
would be.
before Hey Arnold
Okay, yeah, okay,
for me.
okay.
It's
For me,
Hey
the
Arnold,
opposite.
then it's
No shade.
Are You Afraid of the Dark? Goosebumps.
Is anybody following along at home anymore?
Courage. Hey Arnold. Rocket Power.
Okay.
Did I say Goosebumps? I can't even keep up with my list. All right, you go. You go. I've ruined the show. It's over.
Chaos. Absolute
Everyone
chaos.
stopped listening.
Top 5 is so difficult if you're putting all of the networks together.
You have Disney
right?
too.
Yes, that's where it gets tough because Phil of the Future, Lizzie McGuire, Even Stevens, that's so Raven to a lesser extent. But like those first 3 were formative to me and just I love everything about them pretty
Yeah.
much. But if you're talking Nickelodeon for me, we've got Hey Arnold. Of all Nickelodeon shows, Hey Arnold would be my first, I think.
Okay.
There's just something about it. This whole
It's fair.
Campfire Chat has become a love letter to Craig Bartlett, but I can't help it. Like, there's something so beautiful about Hey Arnold. It had the humor, it had the dry delivery, it had the wit, it had the nostalgia, it had the supernatural ghostly elements,
You're right.
mysticism.
It's got everything.
It
You're right.
has everything. So that's
It's a
why
shame
it would
it
be
didn't
up
go
there.
beyond what 4 seasons?
I think, yeah.
It's really
So.
disappointing. It
Um,
was cut so short.
But Hey Arnold would be up there for me. Are You Afraid of the Dark would probably come in second to Hey Arnold, probably for
Okay.
me.
All right.
The Amanda Show. So those are 3 major shows from each network. That's 6 total. If you're asking me to like compare and contrast Hey Arnold and Phil of the Future, that is an existential Kaylin question that I might have to take a whole episode just to do on my own because both of those pieces of media were formative for me. Lizzie McGuire as well. Like if you're putting Lizzie McGuire then against like Are You Afraid of the Dark or something. Like all of this was so much. Also, Disney, So Weird would be in my top 5.
Oh, right.
Without
yeah.
a doubt. So Weird, we will talk about it on the show at some point. We've talked about doing it episode by episode just because it was so on theme for
That
not
and,
only the show.
Erie, Indiana.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. We get that a lot. Let's see. I love how this person asked this question and then is just sitting in confusion while we both list off things and have no numbers or structure to it whatsoever.
Well, you thought we know how to answer this question? What kind of moron are you?
Deeply apologetic.
Who do you think you are?
There were elements of other shows that I liked and appreciated, so please don't, if your favorite show or a show that was important to you isn't included,
People
it
stop.
isn't that I didn't like it.
Please don't stop listening just because we didn't mention
Boy
your
Meets
favorite
World is listed
show.
on some of these as like a Disney show. It wasn't, I don't think it was originally a Disney show though. So
I mean,
don't
there's so
think
many.
can-
We were told to pick 5. If you said pick your top 20, that's so much easier.
I mean, Boy Meets World is in my top favorite TV shows of all time, but yeah. Networks are getting blurry now at this point in time. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
Boy Meets World was like summertime. That's bagel bites sitting on the couch.
Yeah, you all
Watching
know
Boy
how
Meets
much I love Boy
World.
Meets World. We will eventually get into that. Like I said, with Bro Meets World, an incredible podcast. Those dudes are awesome. What they do is awesome. I love the perspective that they bring to a sitcom that really lacked a lot of the, diverse perspective. It had basically none other than Trina McGee, which she's incredible. But I love what they do. I love that they've made a name for themselves in that space.
Sure.
And honestly, we've talked about covering the And Then There Was Sean episode with them for a while. So that is on my like personal and podcast bucket list to be able to do because they're the people to do it with. And that episode belongs amongst
Just make
our
sure they haven't already
collection.
covered it.
No, they may have, but that's the thing. Like
in lieu of
that's the thing. Even if they have
us
the
not
darkness and right. Right. Our timing may not be perfect, but I still think there's always conversation to be had there.
Sure. We could have them on. That'd be fun. That'd just be a fun time just to
We may have missed one earlier.
talk in circles.
Things that we liked more or less than we thought we did when we started out. Like, is there any episode or thing that you've covered that you didn't know that you would enjoy and then you did? Or something that you did enjoy that you figured out maybe didn't land the way that you thought? I think
Just
that's
this
an
year?
interesting question. Sure.
It is an interesting question. I need to see.
We also posted this as we were chatting and beginning our preparations for this Campfire chat. So, late breaking news.
Well, I'll definitely say the Monster Mash was way more interesting than I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
There's way more to it than I ever expected.
Me too.
And I think that's probably true for a lot of people who realize how deep that lore goes.
I really liked your Zeke the Plumber coverage, I will say. If we're going just forever back.
Yeah? That's a while back, yeah.
But there was so much that I didn't think we'd get to through that we did.
Yeah, with the whole summer camp and like horror as a summer camp.
Because that's when
like
I had my
trope
big
as a staple.
reformed tomboy conversation. Because like discussion
Sure.
around gender and those things. Like I've never felt like gender dysphoria, so to speak, but I had a lot of the internalized misogyny against femininity and the feminine energy.
Yeah.
So
Maybe like
those
Michael
conversations were
Jackson's
big.
Thriller too, because we discussed puberty at length.
Yeah.
And like adolescent sexuality, which is uncomfortable, but
We did
made
that
it
in
work.
Labyrinth also.
We did.
And
did.
like it's uncomfortable, but like the thing that gets to me is we all start there.
Yeah.
You know, like
So
we all
why
have
is it
things
so
From, yeah, why is it
hush-hush
so
and taboo?
hush-hush and
Like-
taboo? Because we all have like yes, we're grown-ups now. Like there are problems if you start to like cross-contaminate. I guess.
Yeah,
But
I was never sex was never talked about.
same for me at all.
Not in school, not in the home,
Same.
nothing.
And it comes up, we talked about it really early on in our Toxic Love episode, like one of the first few episodes we did.
Yeah.
That's a topic
yeah.
that both you and I, but especially I, will get on soapboxes about because it's a huge aspect of life on this planet and it's dismissed by a lot of different facets of society.
For
Either
sure.
dismissed or demonized or both. I had a lot of like deep realizations through the Willy Wonka research.
Mm-hmm.
Learning historically how things shook out, but also allegorically.
Right.
The depth of some of the episodes. Like, sometimes you expect to get into stuff, but even Gremlins. I mean, Gremlins shocked me with the depth that we got to. I would say if anything is surprising or changes my perspective, it's just always that there is more than meets the eye to this content. And that is kind of a elevator speech for that's pretty dark as a whole. Like, there is always going to be more than meets the eye, but it always amazes me that everything pretty much that we've covered kind of rises to that bar.
I think, like Brave Little Toaster too, especially. We had so much
If we're talking about like surprising or whatever, like I was shocked by the emotional turmoil that came to me rewatching that film. And I've said it before on the show, and I may have said it during our coverage of Brave Little Toaster, but I don't expect I may feel differently in several years. That's the thing about me as well, is like I'm never going to speak in absolutes. Like, things change, people change, minds change. With any luck, there is growth. And I never try to put caps on things. But I don't anticipate ever watching Brave Little Toaster again.
No.
In my life. Like, I think I revisited it. I did what I needed to do. I finished my business with it, and I think we're done.
Did what I had to do.
Yeah, I think we are our cycle together is complete. Because the emotional, like the feelings that I felt throughout that process surprised me. Is there anything for you that has come back like that, like hit you really, really hard? Because I mean, All Dogs Go to Heaven is big and Brave Little Toaster is big, but like, is there anything that you've covered? This is a question from me to you. Is there anything that you have covered that just kind of hit you where it hurts so far?
Let me see.
I'll turn the camera down so you can see that. There's also Christmas gifts and chaos in my office. Please don't judge me.
I can't say there's nothing I will like never watch again.
Yeah.
But I mean, Pinocchio hit really hard. Brave Little Toaster hit really hard. Casper was
surprising
very
to me
heavy.
Also. Yeah.
It was emotionally very heavy for me for some reason. Probably just because the timing, the place we were at in our lives when it happened. I thought maybe Halloween Tree would be like that, but I love the history so much. It can't ruin it for me. Yeah, no, there's nothing that I just like that just like rattled me. You know, to the point where I'm like, I need space. But I can say I didn't watch Casper this year. So maybe that's the closest I've come to needing space from something that I loved.
We both have a very complicated relationship with courage.
Yeah.
We do. I mean, it's not any one episode or like moment. It's just the overall tone. There are times when I'm like aching for it, you know, like I'm jonesing for it. Like I want to get back to courage. And then there are times when I'm like, I just can't right now. And that can be true for anything, but I think of the things that we talk about, that's probably the one where I get the most like skeeved out about going back to.
Sure. Well, you did that while we were covering it.
Oh yeah.
You did it like every episode.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Sure did.
I always got excited about it, but
I did too. That was kind of the thing, kind of my process. Like, looking at the episode on the schedule, I was very intimidated and nervous. And then the minute that I opened a few tabs and got a few articles going, I was excited.
Yeah.
You know, it always shifts and changes. Things always do when you give them space to do so.
Yeah, I don't know. I love everything we've covered. It's just so much good stuff.
So much fun. We've had a lot of fun together. I guess it's as good a time as any to say, like,
what a
obviously, it's been a wild, crazy, wonderful, difficult, amazing 3-year span that we've been, you know, doing the show. We're entering a whole new year with new challenges, new scheduling conflicts, new energy, new everything. But I love doing this. I love doing this with you, Christian. I'm grateful for your input, influence, edit, your technical expertise.
The goddamn edits.
The goddamn edits. Everything
Jesus
that
Christ.
you do to make the podcast come to life, I'm grateful for. You know, whatever we go through and whatever we do, it is always a joy and a comfort to return to the, like, depths of history and sociology and some weird random 80s or 90s thing or moment that, you know, ends up meaning a lot to us. So
very relevant stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I feel the very same way. I mean, I'm not always up on the current hot button issues and such, and I feel like you are. And so you're able to bring a lot of the, relevant commentary to a lot of what we're covering. And, I just feel lucky when I know what we're talking about. I'm just like, oh yeah. I did read about that. Yeah, it's good.
I did see that happen. Yes.
So I guess I'm more focused on I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know. More of like the structure of things sometimes, more of the organic matter that makes up like the content, and then you're definitely more in tune with the emotional components and the intellectual, like how it, from a sociological perspective, and how it actually pertains to life now. You're more about like the mirror effect of like the content, and I feel like I'm more about like
what else?
the groundwork. I'm more about the foundation of things sometimes. So
I think that,
it's a good
balance. I think it's important.
You got to have both
those things.
If we had a third would just complete the circle, the triangle.
Triangle. What are we missing?
The third actually is just the void. I think it's the abyss.
It's
and we're just shouting at it.
Is
constantly.
the third always, because without the void we wouldn't feel the pressure, we also wouldn't feel the longing and the yearning, like
the judgment.
The liminal void of nothingness and everythingness is our third podcast host. Ghost host,
the true ghost of the host.
It
combinations
is, and I'm grateful for it too,
it works somehow.
It gets the job done. I've been in these final days of 2024 and leading into 2025. I told you I've been, watching films a lot and like revisiting different creators that I love and care about. If you do follow me on Instagram, then you're already very sick of hearing about it. But I have been rewatching or watching different media by one of my favorite directors of all time, Cameron Crowe, who directed my favorite film of all time, Elizabethtown. And
there it is.
He blends in music to fiction and, scenes, conversations, moments. But one of the themes that comes up very frequently in a lot of the things that he writes, is there is good and bad in everything. We are all just existing. We're trying to exist. We're trying to connect with each other. There are things that are making that harder. Everybody's wondering, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? Am I doing enough or am I doing too much? Like, he is really great about shining light on that, just the experience of living. And if I do anything in art, in life, I want it to be reflective of all of that. It's not just the good parts. It's not just the when things click and make sense. It's also the tension and the both good and bad tension. It's the conflict and how that is handled, how that is approached, the way all of that shapes who we are and what we are. And that's in fiction and that's in life. I think the best of fiction represents that struggle and that tension. I mean, between those things in life, those feelings of feeling self-assured, feeling together, feeling not so together, feeling like insecure, feeling the sadness, the yearning, all of those things all together. That's what makes art. Therefore, that's what puts us here where we are in these seats today, because all that we're talking about is how life reflects in and out of these things.
Right.
Yeah, but he does a great job of that Cameron Crowe, and I've been in that space for the past couple weeks, One of my like personal things that I want to do in 2025 is like read more, but also read more poetry.
Yeah. I want to read
I
more,
think the more
recreationally and not just for research.
Yeah, I mean, same. And I think poetry is a really good place to start for me with that, because the the mental and time and physical commitment feels lower, but it's also one of the most impactful like practices, I guess, that I have is like reading poetry or reading those like short form
Sure.
essays. I got a Substack account because there are a lot of people that I really appreciate and like people that I like to follow that post on Substack that I haven't had the guts to dive into, but I'm starting to do that too. So I think I'm just trying to let more light in and darkness, like just let more in, you know?
Yeah, sure.
And that's one way I'm doing that.
Open up to the world.
Yeah.
Scary, but
terrifying.
Rewarding, I hear.
Brutal sometimes. Brutal. But
I was once trying to date a girl who said, get out of your head. Things are all right out here, or something like that. You know, things are pretty good out here. And I didn't listen. So we never dated. But,
one of
you know,
so
that worked out for the best.
I have it.
I would say.
I have it right here. This is actually a really good mantra, not only for us, but maybe for any darklings that may be in a similar life or headspace to us.
Yeah.
I quite literally keep this sticky note on my desk. It's from therapy. My therapist, who is incredible, who I've had for the past nearly decade. Something that she says to me very often is get out of your head and get into your life.
Hey.
And it's on this post-it note that stays right here where I can see it all the time. And again, do I listen? Not often, but when I listen, I feel like it pays off.
Yeah, I'm better about it than I used to be.
Everything.
Sure,
yeah.
Man, oh man. If you ever wanted my stamp of approval, Robert Eggers' Nosferatu is close to perfection.
I'm excited for it. I haven't seen it.
I'm going to see it for the second time tomorrow morning at 11 a.m.
Oh.
I cannot wait. It's so good. It is the treatment that Nosferatu deserves. That whole story, the whole history.
I need to get there.
If you haven't listened, go to our Midnight Madness episode.
Midnight Madness.
Where we tale the Midnight Madness, where we discuss for the history of Nosferatu at length.
Yeah, couple that with your
Christian Mott stamp
Nosferatu
of
viewing. That's a good time.
It's great.
Talk about not having a foot in this world, finger on the pulse. You're seeing Nosferatu before me.
It's rare, but I'm doing it twice before you see it. Anyway, is there anything else that we have?
I don't think so. I think we have mostly exhausted.
We've pummeled this
We have
campfire.
certainly covered the bullshit. That has been done.
Item one.
Our
Item
main agenda
infinity.
item has been covered, so I'm
Bullshit.
satisfied by that.
I think
you all have gotten to say hello to Buzz for the new year.
One of my goals for next year, big time, for our 2026
Oh my god!
Campfire chat.
Wait a second. Whoa! Where are we going?
For the 2026 Campfire
Where are
chat
we?
needs
Who
to
are
be.
we?
I think we need to have less structure. I think we need to have less organization,
Okay.
fewer things to actually talk about. and
Well,
more-
we've devolved in that way in our campfire chats quite significantly, so
More
we're on
bullshit.
that trajectory
more bullshit.
already. We're on our way there. As always, we thank you all so much for being here with us. If you have made it to the end of this more
How?
intense and lengthier
Why?
campfire chat than either of us expected,
Are you okay?
thank you for being here, especially. If you want more of us and you're not already, you can follow us on our socials at That's Pretty Dark Podcast on Instagram, at That's Pretty Dark on TikTok. For the time being, we'll see. We haven't really discussed that part of this new year. Who knows how it's going to
Who
go, but
needs
we're
to?
here for you either way. You can also contact us at that'sprettydarkpodcast@gmail.com if anything we have said makes your heart sing or offends you or any of the above. We're always happy to hear from you and how you feel, because you are just as real, important, impactful, and opinionated as we are.
That's the truth.
And
we know.
Again, we've mentioned it a couple times
We're
now,
aware.
but we do plan to have this on video on Patreon. We try to do a video episode on Patreon every now and then, and we're actively working on being better Patreon proteges as we learn and understand more about what you all want and what the platform wants and what the algorithms want. But
just tell us what you want.
tell us what you want. Yeah, and that being said, you can, if you feel compelled to join us in a financial capacity, you can contribute $5 a month and get all of the backlogged bonus content that we have, some cutting room floor moments, things that didn't make the original episodes, stuff like that. We try to get up there for you. That is at patreon.com/TPD podcast. Did I get them all?
I think you did.
Until the next time we're in your ears with some undetermined as of yet topic that I'm debating between in my quiet moments and trying to figure out what's the best move. Until then, we hope that you are having a wonderful and lovely beginning to your new year. If you're not, I get it.
Totally understand. It's been weird, especially if you're in New Orleans. Sorry about that. That's unfortunate that happened.
I have quite a few good friends there that
Me too.
that's been a really hard conversation the last few days.
Yep.
Life is so fragile and finite, and I know that so well, and I am reminded more and more every day of that fact.
Yep.
Keep your people close. Tell your people that they are your people. Care about people even if you don't consider them to be your people, and the more that all of us do that,
Caring
the
doesn't
less
cost anything.
this kind of bullshit hopefully will take place.
Being kind doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, we're with you. We're thinking about you.
And just, it's also, it's just so much easier to not murder a bunch of people.
Yeah.
It's
way
just so much easier to not do that.
Just
Choosing
infinitely.
not to kill people versus killing. It's just so much easier to not do it. And I think that should be everyone's resolution for this year. It's just work
We're
on
here.
not planning mass
Any
murder.
kind of murder or destruction, please.
Just don't do it. It's icky. It's bad.
Oh my god.
frowned
And if you
upon.
get those urges, just write about it or something. Fictionalize your
Yeah.
bullshit. I
Just
don't know.
go to
There are so many avenues for you.
BetterHelp.com/prettydark.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Please, we're not making light of a horrific tragedy. We
You're
never would or would try to.
I am a little bit.
We are
That's
just
how
trying
I
to
cope.
survive, exactly. It's coping.
That's how I cope.
Um,
Life's tragedies.
It's all just a coping.
It's either jokes or
show
shutting down completely. You pick. You
is
guys have a
one
choice.
giant coping mechanism from us to you, and we hope it's helping you do the coping.
That's
so.
pretty dark. Your coping mechanism of choice. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you all for being here.
Yeah. Get ready for a hell of a new year.
2025. We'll
It's
see
gonna
you
be great.
soon.
Bye now.
Bye, guys.